we're so blessed. And y'all being here, the friends and the family that have committed to us over a long, long period of time. And I'll go ahead and get started. First, I want to thank Kimberly Sanders for, who's the director of the service here at Southbridge, and also Susan. Is Susan out? I say Susan Avenue because is she here or not? I can't remember. She's here. She's back there. Okay. Her last name is different now, but every time I try to pronounce it, I say it differently. So, but anyway, they everything I ask, they've done here. And the room looks great. Patsy actually met here for precepts and Bible study, so she was in this room, even though we didn't go to this church, and that's so nice that they committed to having the service here. All of you seated in front of me, you all enhanced Patsy's life. Each one of you met Patsy in a different pathway between church retreats and classes and art openings and just family get-togethers. I was going to mention we have a movie, and there it is there that we'll do after everything's done and we're eating. And that shows a good snapshot or a glimpse of our life.
Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us here today for this gathering to celebrate the life of your mother. Lord, lift up everyone in right now who lost her, whether she was a close friend or family member. Lord, we all love her dearly, I know she loved you. You say in your word, I am the resurrection and the life. Whoever believes in me whoever believes in me will live even when they die. Everyone who lives in me and believes in me will never die. Lord, I know she isn't present with us, but she will always remain in our hearts. Lord, I thank you for Southbridge Fellowship Church for providing space for the service as we celebrate Thanksgiving. Thank you for blessing us. In your name I pray. She was very selfless and put everyone's needs before her own. Like me, all of you miss her a lot, but she's in a better place now. I am so thankful for the time I had with her through the good and the bad times. I was happy to see her smile, even though she had to, endure a lot of pain. But she never lost hope. Thank you for coming out here today to celebrate Patsy Day's life.
Memories are a special thing. If I can steal from Arliss's art form, over the last month, I've been forming a collage of memories in my mind of Patsy and all the things I experienced with her. It's hard to believe it's been 48 years of building those memories. We began as young newlyweds, then first-time parents, moving from place to place, becoming empty nesters, dealing with aging parents, basically growing up together. In my mind collage, I wrote all the words that describe Patsy for me. Sweet, kind, loving, affectionate, talented, creative, generous, fun-loving, the best laugh ever. Competitive. Did you know Patsy was competitive? She was the best partner ever against the guys in a card game hand and foot. Girls, rain. We tried not to make them feel too badly. So many memories. A memory from that young mother stage. We were still in Charlotte. Arlen was about 4. Katie was 3. Phil was a baby. Arliss and Patsy, Dave and I took them to Chuck E. Cheese. Dave and Arliss took the older ones to the various games, and Patsy and I were pushing Phil in the stroller. That we walked around on our own, just chatting girl talk. When suddenly we looked at each other. Where's Phil? I thought Patsy had him. She thought I had him. We had left him in the stroller in the previous room. We were horrified and splitting our sides with laughter at the same time. I can't remember whether we told Arliss and Dave about that or not.
No, I didn't.
We were so glad to end up back together here in North Carolina, and that gave us a chance to make more memories. Patsy and I had our birthdays in June, just a day apart, so we would try to have lunch or go shopping, just the two of us. We'd have long talks about kids, husbands, parents, what God was teaching us through it all. Going to countless movies, surprise trips for each other, getting ice cream at Kilburns, playing more cards, going to the beach, putt-putt, laughing and more laughing. The memories fill the void left when we no longer have an earthly presence. Oh, how I miss Patsy's earthly presence. Patsy's friendship is a good and perfect gift from God. I look forward to sharing eternity in heaven with her.
About 50 years ago at First Baptist Church in Charlotte, and we were together in Adult One. Several of us are here from Adult One, and we had a special group. We really did. But while in Sunday school, she was just the best. While we could do Sunday school socials, retreats, or other events, but Patsy lived out her faith in a way that was warm. I've heard these same words from the rest of us here in talk, but she was loving and kind-hearted to everyone around her. She was just a true friend. Patsy was always a joy to talk to be with. While she was quiet and unassuming, but always interested in what you had to say. She was a great listener. Patsy was a happy person and fun to be with. She loved life. I always loved her beautiful big smiles and her laughter. Even in her last days, when things were extremely hard for her, Ken and I would show it up at the apartment, and Patsy would smile her big smile when we walked in and give her hugs and kisses that were always so heartfelt, just like she had done forever. And she loved you, Arliss, so very much. It was evident by the strong love and affection you all had for each other. I love watching you all. It was just the sweetest thing ever. And Arlie, she loved you as well. As I watched you two hug, it was a long and expressive hug that spoke to what a special relationship the two of you had. Patsy was a little sweetheart, and we will all miss her greatly. But I feel privileged to have known such a deeply committed Christian and lady who lived out her faith to the fullest. A job well done.
Thank you, Joseph.
What a blessing Patricia or Patsy or Branda was to each of us. The world was a much better place with her in it. She is surely missed. I can describe her with 3 words: fun, faith, and family. Fun. She was fun. Our first get-together with Arliss and Patricia was at 888, their home in a high-rise overlooking Sarasota Bay. They invited a few couples over from our Sunday school class for dinner and to participate in a newlywed game. That was her mantra. Whenever we went to their house for dinner, it was followed by a game. That was the beginning of many memories of boating, ping pong tournaments, beach walks, and sporting events. Even if the activity was not that exciting, like walking the Destin Beach in 20-degree weather, Patricia would exclaim, "This is fun," with a smile on her face. We will miss more fun times with her here, but what a blast Jesus is having in heaven with her. And one day we will have fun with her again. Faith. Patricia had a deep walk with God. The fruit of the Spirit poured out of her. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, gentleness, and self-control. She was full of wisdom, knowing what to say and when to say it. We would share our deepest concerns to each other, and no matter what I said, she would not think less of me. And anything shared was kept in deep confidence. She would take my hand firmly and would say a heartfelt prayer. She was a friend who loves at all times. Family. Patricia did not have friends. She had family. She was a friend who was as close as a sister. My family was blessed because she adopted all of us. She and Arliss would come cheer our children on, Bill Jr. and Diana, in their basketball games and tennis matches. Our daughter texted the following to be read to her before she passed. Mrs. Day, I wanted you to know that you've always been an inspiration to me. You have the kindest spirit. Oftentimes when I get flustered, I think of you and how you approach life with a strong, kind, and empathetic stance. I have loved our time together. You have been such a positive influence on me as a mom, woman, and a wife. I'm grateful God put you in my life. I love you. Even though she had a huge circle of extended family of friends, her immediate family, Arliss, Arlen, Madison, and Peyton, were her biggest pride and joy. Oh, how she loved you. You, Arliss, made her life complete. She adored you, she supported you, she cared for you. And she was so excited when you, Arlen, moved back to Sarasota so she could spend more time with you. She was a devoted mama bear. She wanted the absolute best for you and for you to be happy. She would do anything to achieve that goal. When she would talk about your girls, Madison and Peyton, her eyes twinkled and her face lit up. Granda was one ecstatic grandma when you two were born. She cherished every moment she spent with you, even moving to North Carolina to be near you. Madison and Peyton, she was your biggest fan, bragging about your accomplishments, whether at school, on the track, on stage, and on court. She was so excited when you were old enough to do art lessons with her. I can see so much of her and you, looks, mannerisms, and sweetness. You both have brought such joy to her life. Our hearts ached that Patricia was called to heaven so soon. I hope that my dwelling place is right next door to hers there. She will be waiting for us with our Lord with open arms. But I have been blessed with her in my life by her zeal for fun, her deep faith in God, and her commitment to family.
Thank you. I'll bring my little iPad over here. I've been doing it against the wall, so y'all, if I look down too much, I didn't have to worry about faces on the other side. Okay. Let's see. I'll skip to that. I want also a big thanks to Patsy's sister and her husband John. Dixie and John were so and they're right here. They came down about 8 or 9 times during those 9 months of the brain tumor, and they stopped their life to help ours. Josie and Ken, right over here, they're opening their house up tonight, which is the gathering between 4 and 7. Everyone's invited. You can tell they're going to have a full house. so they hospital visits, many things, and he's helping me through this probate thing because I would have to get many lawyers to figure it out with my brain. And so it's just been they've been awesome. Ginger, I don't have down on here, but the name tags, the movie, the many things that she took part in. And if I started naming all the names, then I wouldn't have to do this and we would be here till 4 o'clock. So we're gonna stick. Okay, Patsy was born June 15th, 1951. Her parents, Lyle and Homer Malden, she's really shaped an amazing woman. They went to Park Street Baptist Church. Her sister and them were very active in the church. Dixie played the piano, and as Patsy got older, she played up until she went off to college, to art school, and met me. But her passion was never music, it was art. And her parents, I want to give they just raised her right. And then the other thing, in the struggles of fine arts, they helped us out a lot. We ended up moving down and lived next door to them, after, I think Arlen was after the 3rd grade. supported. I could not have had better, parents-in-laws. But most importantly, Patsy knew the Lord at a very early age. She studied precept, a lot of Bible studies with Kay Arthur, when we lived in South Carolina. And then here with Gloria teaches here in this same room, and she still does. And Patsy came, they were in different churches. She really enjoyed Gloria's teaching. Patsy and I met at Raleigh School of Art Design in 1969. Most of you know I never dated a girl or kissed a girl until I met her. She saw me, I was shy. She positioned herself outside a door. She knew and greeted me with the words, "How do you like Raleigh?" Those words changed us forever. The kisses came later. And that is the only girl I've ever kissed on the lips. So don't anybody try today. Don't want to experiment around. She was a 10 out of 10. So Patsy graduated from Raleigh School of Art and earned her Bachelor of Fine Arts degree in 1972. She was an excellent graphic design student. And when she went, job-wise, her first job was for Royal Crown Coal. When I was in the service, she worked as a designer there for several years. And then when we moved to Dallas, Texas, she was an art director for Ecomatics Corporation. And at the same time, she did illustration, freelance illustration on the side. And some of her illustrations there's I think one out here, and there's several in the movie. Patsy and I started our business called 2-Day Design in 1977. Mint Museum of Art, Motor Speedway, Busch Gardens in Williamsburg were some of our clients. Patsy's, one of her greatest skills was taking a little thumbnail about this size of mine and turning it into a full layout, and then eventually having it all set in type and ready for the printer. I just did the little thumbnails. But I got credit because I did illustration with her, but she knew how to make things work really quickly. I tried to make this eulogy all about Patsy, but I failed. When Patsy and I would meet people from time to time, I would say, "This is my better half," and then Patsy would say the same thing back to the same person. But the problem was, Patsy was always the better half. And you got to know that pretty quickly as you got to know us. For the last 25 years, we've only had one car. We did everything together. That's not easy to get along all the time doing everything together. We did. We never tired. We kept it fresh, our marriage, and it was an incredible, relationship for both of us. I decided to look up how to write a eulogy. Let's just say I took liberties on my approach and Patsy with a list of questions. What would be a words to describe Patsy? And the answer would be deep capacity to love. Not just saying it, but meaning it. She had a strong will, determination to finish things. When she loved you, it wasn't in slices. She loved the whole person, and that's not easy. Behind that beautiful smile, she kept to her faith, never wondered in knowing God is enough, Jesus plus nothing. I believe her ability to be content was rooted in her trust in the Lord. She was a very content person. She was so satisfied. Patsy was self-sacrificing to ride the ups and downs of being married to me and the artist in me. She knew when I went in uncharted waters to go into fine arts that it would be difficult, but she said yes. She knew the time restraints. She knew all the things that were involved, and she kept saying yes. Even in the struggles, she never, in a way, she could have said, maybe there's another easier way to be out there than doing this, but she never did. She always was so supportive. The Patsy memorial movie that you'll see, and it'll also be at Ken and Josie's house. It kind of tells, we lived in rural South Carolina in Easley, We lived in the suburbs of Charlotte, and also we lived in the high rise in 888 in Sarasota. Now our favorite view and our favorite, as far as location, it was that high rise. We loved it. But our favorite time was raising Arlen in both Charlotte and in Easley. Question 2, was Patsy compassionate, funny, unpredictable, spontaneous? And the answer is yes. Back in the Easley days, Arlen wanted to go to a AAA baseball game. We got there, unexpected rain shower comes up. We're walking back to the car. She sees the parking attendant. She goes up, she says, can we have our money back? And so she was great at taking things back. So she thought she could take her parking space. And so she gave it all the charm, the smiles, and the guy wouldn't budge. We got back in the car, she rolls down the window and she says, "What a rip." She wasn't always calm. She wasn't always sweet. Question 3, how would Patsy like to be remembered? The answer is a saying. People will forget what you say, people will forget what you do, but people will never forget how you make them feel. Maybe that soft heart of a 9-year-old girl, sitting in a pew on a Sunday morning, hearing the invitational hymn, "I Surrender All." Because if you knew Patsy well, you never forget how she makes you feel. She really pulled that off, and she was so sincere. Okay, let me gather my thoughts here. I cried in front of the wall many times. This isn't unusual. Okay, I feel led to tell you the Lord guided me and Patsy through the challenges of the tumor. Eventually, on the deathbed to hospice house, one night not long after the brain surgery, the Lord somehow talked to me, not verbally, but it changed me forever. Patsy and I had a long talk at length about what I understood from that night. All our worries and details of things to come was ahead of us. Christ had already done it. We had to trust to go forward, not knowing the answers. He would already figure it out, or had already figured it out, really. His miraculous ways, he solved each challenge in front of her and myself. Amazing friendships stepped up, family members and friends made trips. Financial resources were sent, an amazing gift of network of friends and family solved each of those obstacles that was standing in front of us. No, the tumor did not go away, but Christ was there the entire time with us. Patsy's symptoms led doctors and nurses to believe this is during hospice. Time was coming really quickly. And so I said my goodbyes thinking it was the next day but it took 3 days. So I said it about 30 times to Patsy, my goodbyes to her. Then a surprising thing happened. I experienced joy for Patsy. I saw how close she was to heaven. Because of the timing, I missed her last breath. But that's okay. She's still breathing the same air in heaven that all Christians and us will experience too. 2 friends, Ken and Jenna, had come to relieve Josie and Ken, and we called minutes after the death. We all went back to the hospice, and all 5 of us looking down at Patsy. And I'm not sure which one of us said it, we all knew it. She's in heaven. We knew without a shadow of a doubt she was with the Lord. You would have thought we'd all broken down in tears, but the truth of it is we truly let that unselfish part of our heart let go and happy for her. That's not something I expected to experience, but God gave me that incredible moment. And also the people who were there. Now it was more felt by me, obviously, because of my connection. But the Lord, He has worked through this thing. He has made me stronger than I'm really capable of. Even being up here, there was no doubt I would do this. Patsy always told me she wanted to go first. She got their wishes, you know, in a way, but I knew I was led to do the obituary. Question 3. Was Patsy a patient mom and wife? Yes. Orland was 10 days old. Patsy's and her parents wanted to go out shopping. I said, no problem, I'll stay here with the baby and watch football. Never crossed my mind how to do cloth diapers and diaper pins without puncturing the poor baby. I tried every time I got close. I said, well, out of a solution, I'll just go ahead and wrap a towel around him. Well, he read it through that towel, wrapped another towel around him. You know, the roll was getting bigger. Patsy walks in the door. She sees her little baby, arms and legs, not a leg, arms sticking out, a 3-foot roll of towels. She came to the rescue. Her mom owned a daycare and nursery, and Patsy had skills. Obviously, I didn't. Patsy was a wonderful mom. Orland and Patsy had a strong bond and closeness. We did a lot of tennis tournaments, and Orland wasn't always calm in the tennis, but she did. She took all those, the hassles, the heat, the ups and downs. She was there for her boy. Orland stepped up and helped so much during the cancer. When he walked in the door, that beautiful smile Patsy always had was just so much brighter. The things I couldn't do, he came through with. When she wouldn't eat, I'd call him on the phone. He could be on the tennis courts. It didn't matter, and he would talk her through it, and I'd just say, well, I could not do that here, but he could. As a grandmother, she was called Granda. Oh, how she loved the granddaughters, Madison and Peyton, at any age. I'm so pleased that both to share in the celebration today. She went to as many sporting events as we could with them, and she taught art. She did so much, and she really is an encourager to y'all. Question 3, was Patsy young at heart? A resounding yes. She never let age, in a way, stop the enthusiasm, the optimism she had, and the playfulness. That's a refreshing attitude. It's easy as you get older not to have those. She really just seemed to always take that, and it never seemed to waver. Question 5. What was the highlights of Patsy's story? I believe that her testimony probably describes Patsy best. My sister Ginger will read that in a few minutes. I couldn't do it without crying, so I threw it to her, and it was the last thing that's going to be done, so I can save those tears a little bit later. What impact did Patsy have on my life? The answer is she redirected this 17-year-old dreamer into the man I needed to be to deserve her hand in marriage. Her unfailing love brought out the best in me. She never got the credit as she deserved for her keen eyes and artistic abilities. Her observation of my art and design made a difference in all the watercolors and collages. And I trusted her. Whatever changes I made, I knew they'd be right. And if she didn't like it, probably I'd make another change. And she was rarely wrong. To be honest, she maybe 95%. And that's kind of hard sometimes when I think I'm right, but she knew the work. She didn't do the work as far as, but she knew the work. I think I brought enough Kleenex. So far I've done pretty good. And then now we have Pam and...
My name is Pam Roth, and Patsy was my dear friend. It really warms my heart to see so many of you here today to celebrate her life and together. She was truly a remarkable woman. Just like some of you have said, she lit up the room with her smile. She just had that. But Gary and I were lucky to meet Patsy and Arliss 13 years ago when we retired from Southern California. We moved to Raleigh to retire, and we met Arliss and Patsy at Providence Baptist Church. And we just kind of clicked. We just connected on a level that was really fun. We had a great time together. We shared our love with the Lord. We played a lot of cards. We ate good food, and we had a passion for sports, especially college sports, especially LSU, Clemson, and Alabama. Now, I know you've probably never heard Patsy say Roll Tide, but we teased her endlessly about Roll Tide. We
still do because Arliss.
It's okay to bring up the tide.
Yeah, we're going to brighten the room and bring it up, so yes. But from the start, Patsy struck me as perhaps the sweetest, most genuinely kind-hearted Southern woman I have ever met. Her warmth and hospitality made me feel welcome immediately and created a bond of friendship that I will always treasure. Early on, Patsy and Arliss taught us a fun game, hand and foot, which you referenced. And now we live in Wilmington, the Wilmington over there, and we've taught many, many people. So we have groups of hand and foot, and it all goes back to Arliss and Patsy. Okay. Patsy and Arliss have visited us several times in our home near the water, where we enjoyed boat rides. We did dinners out. One of the fun places we would go to was Southport and walk around the town and eat ice cream cones while rocking in Southern colored rockers. And we always had lots of oatmeal cookies.
Yes.
So Arliss, you have an open invitation anytime you want to come, and I will always have oatmeal cookies. Many of you know Patsy was a deeply talented artist in her own right. I recall how impressed I was when she showed me some of her work. I mean, they were beautiful. I'm a layperson, but like couture type fashion design, women in beautiful clothing, just high fashion. She just had nailed it. They were beautiful. But she was very gifted and full of talent. So Patsy loved art, but she loved her family even more. Her love for Arliss ran deep. We loved spending time with them because you could see the care and devotion that they always had for each other. They took really good care of each other. And especially when they stay in your home, you can see night and day, it just goes, you could really see that. Patsy was a great support system for Arliss's work and creativity. She recognized that Arliss had been blessed with a special talent from God to be an amazing collagist, and she did so much to assist him. I often witnessed Patsy screening calls and keeping the house quiet while he was in the middle of a great creation. And she knew that it was from God, and she just didn't bother. One day when we were at our house, Patsy and I decided to treat ourselves to pedicures. So we went in, they filed our toenails, they soaked our feet in bubbles, and our men went shopping. And when it was time to select the nail polish color, Patsy looked at me and she said, "I want LSU purple for Arliss," in support of his love of LSU. And so she got the perfect purple, they got it perfect purple. It was great. So she loved her granddaughters and often told us new things they were learning. We would always talk about Peyton and Madison and about your sports and how you were doing, and she just lit up. She just loved you so much. And she was proud of Arlen and the career that you've been able to sustain as a tennis professional. She was happy that you could follow your heart. So I'll always treasure our time together and the blessing Patsy's been in my life. Her quiet faith, her prayer-filled life, and her love of family and friends were key. When the four of us prayed together, Patsy's prayers were heaven-filled, so beautifully directed to the Savior that she knew and loved. I will keep that in my heart forever. She had a genuine faith, which you can hear in her prayers. In James 5:16 it says, "The effective prayer of a righteous person has great power." That great power carried Patsy through a horrible disease and into the loving arms of Jesus. My sweet, loving friend is now safely with our Lord, never to suffer again. So, thanks for letting me share.
Nancy?
Cousin by birth, but I will tell you I'm her sister in heart. We grew up living side by side, and so from the time we became old enough to be able to play, I'm going about this at a different perspective. I'm going about it through her youth. But from the time we were old enough to go out and play, and our parents, felt like we could do it, she and I lived together. I mean, we did everything. We went swimming, we went roller skating, we played Roy Rogers and Dale Evans, and I have to say that she was always Dale Evans because she was such a petite and sweet person, and I was always Roy Rogers because I was. So, now, there was never any doubt that she needed to be Dale Evans. We had so many adventures. We drove Uncle Homer's lawnmower into a ditch, and he was so wonderful. He didn't even get upset with us, and it was a brand new lawnmower. I mean, it was brand new. We just had so many events, and I'm going to tell you one story that will sort of tell you the type of person she was. Back when we were teenagers, I moved away when I was 16, so this had to be about, I was age 15 and she was 14 probably. Long hair, well, of course, was beginning to come in, but ironed hair was the thing. And so one day we waited until Aunt Lila went to the grocery store, and we decided that we would iron Patsy's hair. So we got the ironing board out, and we sat her in front of it, and we lifted all that beautiful long hair up on the ironing board. And I'll be honest, I did a pretty good job of ironing. I can't say anything about the rest, but I did a pretty good job of ironing it. You know, it looked really good. And she got up and she looked at it, but Nancy, it's not even. You know, it's not even. She said, cut it, make it even. I thought, honey, there's no way I can cut that. And so we came up with this bright idea, which was to put the hair back up on the ironing board and to use the yardstick to lay across the bottom of the hair and to cut it. The only problem is, at those ages, we did not take into consideration that this part of the hair perhaps didn't get as close to the ironing board as the other and the long. So when we finished, it was sort of like, I will have to say that Aunt Lila took about an hour and a half to salvage it, and Patsy lost about 2 inches of hair because of that. But through it all, the thing about it is, you would think that she would go, why did you do that? How did you ruined my hair. Not Patsy. Patsy said, Nancy, it's fine. I needed my hair trimmed. I mean, this was the way it needed to be. She was always that way. I mean, she and I joined the church the same day. I mean, it was by accident. I mean, we were like really close, but neither of us knew that we were going to do it. And we walked up on the same day. We were baptized together. We were in GAs together. Her mama was the director. And I will have to say, she wasn't easy on us. Aunt Lila was pretty tough on us. Ours had to be perfect, or we didn't get the next step because, she didn't want to show any partiality. But Patsy taught me so many things. When I was a little older, so I started wearing just little bits of makeup. You don't wear that much makeup then. And she was very honest with me. She said, nope, that doesn't look good on you. That makes you look streetwise. Okay. And so, I mean, if I came in by chance, if I would come visit her, she said, Nancy, you don't want to wear that. That's just not the look you want, not for the person you are. So she was always like that kind of best friend. Well, I moved away when I was 16, so I didn't get to see her as often after that, except for family gatherings. And we went away to college, and we met our husbands, Bruce and Arliss. And after college, we decided that we wanted our families to be like she and I. So we started getting us together, and they would come to our house, and we would come to their house. And we played hand and foot as well. They even taught us hand and foot and toe. I don't know when that came in. Yeah, I don't know when hand and foot and toe came in, but
I have a patent on that.
we learned hand and foot and toe. And our boys were born, Patsy and I were 10 months apart, and our boys were born probably about 8 to 9 months apart. And so we watched them grow and love each other. And then our grandchildren came along, and Madison, you and Peyton are predominantly the same age as our grandchildren. And we shared so many stories about you and the different things. And I'm going to have to repeat what someone else says. She was so proud of you girls, and so proud of Arlen, and obviously so proud of Arliss and the talents he had and the man that he was. And so I'm my last sentence, and I hope I can get through it without crying, but my last sentence is to Patsy. And that is, Patsy, I miss you, and I love you. And I promise you that Bruce and I will do everything we can to take care of Arliss and Arlen and Madison and Peyton and Dixie and John, because those are the people that she, the family that she had, that she loved. And this is my Patsy. As I was walking across, I recognize a lot of these pictures, but this is my Patsy. The Patsy, because, you know, I was in her earlier life more than I was later. But when I saw this picture today, I had Bruce make a copy of it. I said, please take a picture of that. This is my Patsy. And I love her, and I miss her, but thank you.
In the morning when I rise, in the morning when I rise, in the morning when I rise, give me Jesus, give me Jesus, give me Jesus, you can have all this world, but give me Jesus. And when I am alone, when I am alone, and when I am alone, give me Jesus, give me Jesus, give me Jesus, you can have all this world, but give me Jesus. And when I come to die, when I come to die, and when I come to die, give me Jesus, give me Jesus, give me Jesus, you can have all this world, you can have all this world, you can have all this world, but give me
Kind of frazzled today, so I left my copy back at the hotel, but I have it on my phone. God told me to do that, to take a picture. All right, I'm Wallace's sister, in case I haven't met you yet. And I wanted to say just a few sentences about Patsy. Y'all all hit it pretty well. All the speakers today are wonderful. She was definitely an encourager, and she was definitely a good listener, and always had a positive outlook on life. And the thing I really loved about when she was going through her health issues, difficult time, she would still have that little jig in her walk every now and then, and she would have that, quirky smile that she would do, just to let you know that she was okay, that she was going to get through this, and that she had a positive outlook no matter what the circumstances. I'm going to read Patsy's testimony that was actually written in February of 2017. She wrote it for, I believe, a class that she was doing at
Matt Brubaker.
Yes, class that she was doing at her church. All right. God always had a plan for me, even if I didn't know it. When I was 5, I can first remember knowing about the love for God and Jesus by seeing the evidence that was rooted in me by my parents and learning in my beginner Sunday school class at my church. Then at the age of 9 years old, I was sitting in a pew on a Sunday morning. The invitational hymn was, I Surrender All. I will never forget it. I felt a feeling that I knew was bigger than myself, an urgency unlike anything I have ever felt. I was a little afraid, but I knew it was from Jesus, and it was beautiful. Jesus had softened my heart to his calling. It was my moment of truth when Jesus was asking me into the kingdom of God, kingdom of heaven. That day, he took my ordinary life and made it extraordinary. He gave me the Holy Spirit. I would never be the same. I was his, and he was mine forever. As time passed, I learned and I grew. I know that nothing on earth compares with what is above. Most things we experience on earth are God-sized, so I began to look up. I think of a horizontal line representing the world with shifting sands and a vertical line being the spiritual realm. As Christians, we are vertical people, and I begin to live vertically on a day-to-day basis. I have experienced miracles, and I have experienced God's intervention. I have experienced God's great love. I am thankful for the blessings of mercy and grace. I sin, I ask for forgiveness. He forgives. I sin, I ask for forgiveness. He forgives. That was important. You cannot out-sin God's grace. Arliss and I, in our Christian walk, have lived in 7 different cities. In each city, we have been fortunate to find wonderful church homes. Sorry. Gotta go to the next page. Wonderful church homes and classes that have strengthened us. God gave us opportunities to share, learn, and fellowship. This has truly elevated our lives and hopefully other people's lives. The testimonies we have heard in church and classes will always impact us. I feel my spiritual gifts are faith and encouragement. That's very true. With faith, I can overcome my doubts and fears because life is not fair, and we live in a fallen world. But Christ continues to reinforce Arliss and I to go forward in our walk. It's never easy choosing a profession like art. Art is a gift from God that has enriched our lives immensely. With all of our struggles and all of our success, we have felt God's presence, and it has proven to always be strong enough. I have encouraged Arliss through the years, and he has done the same for me. Arliss has been everything I could ever hope for in a husband. We are blessed to have a son, Orlin, and 2 beautiful granddaughters, Madison and Peyton, to share life with. I have always felt that God holds all things together, and he knows more than we know ourselves. I am humbled to be in his presence.